Well, here we are, back in Manar at the Workomi Corporation factory. Been a while. Why are we in Manar, you might reasonably ask? Didn't we end the last episode with a whole spiel about how we needed to get our atmospheric gases to Amamake? Well, we've made this little side stop because over the last couple of months, in the background, while I've been doing everything else, I have also been running some planetary industry. Not just some planetary industry, I would say rather a lot of planetary industry. You ready for a montage? Buckle up, because here we go! And now, the very last of my industry is ready to be picked up. So the next question you probably want to ask is, what do I need transcranial microcontrollers for? That's 50 million ISK in transcranial microcontrollers. Well, this is Bill. Bill wants to build a Cynabal and join the Angel Cartel cause in Zarzak, but he's not making it easy on himself. Over the course of this series, I have run a lot of sites and picked up a lot of loot which I have dumped into my junk folders, things that I'm never going to use. And among the things that I've picked up and known there was no way I was ever going to make use of were in the ghost sites. I found more than a few interesting, appealing, but totally impossible blueprints. I'm talking about mid-grade ascendancy Delta, Epsilon, and Beta, Gamma. These pirate warp speed implants. There's no way we were ever going to build these. I thought, but I've stopped by and there I've picked them up along with my shattered Villard wheels and a little bit of Morphite. And well, check this out. Delta, start. Epsilon, start. Gamma, oh yeah. Okay, I don't actually have enough manufacturing jobs to start the Gamma straight away. All right, now, now that we've cleared that up, what I meant to say was Gamma, oh yeah. I never thought I was actually going to be able to build these ascendancy implants, but once I really looked at it, as soon as I had the Morphite in hand, all that I really needed was planetary industry, a boatload of planetary industry, but I could do that in the background. I wasn't using my planets for anything else. And the shattered Villard wheels, those come from the ghost sites, and I've been picking them up along the way. They were going in the trash folder, but they're not trash if you're trying to build Ascendancy blueprints. So what is this mid-grade Ascendancy implant good for? Well, it gives the +3 bonus to willpower, so I'm going to get +3 bonuses to 3 other stats, which will speed up my skill training a little bit. Not that I especially need the training boost right now. I've got most of the things I critically need already trained, but it's certainly welcome. More significantly, 3% bonus to warp speed. The Epsilon gives a 5% bonus to warp speed, and the Delta gives a 4% bonus to warp speed, and they each give a 10% bonus to all of the other ones. So in total, I'm going to be getting a pretty substantial warp speed bonus by having these 3 Ascendancy implants installed, and that is going to be so useful in what's coming next. Like I said last episode, get the atmospheric gases, Amamake, yes, but that's not the only thing. Some of my other vital reaction components are still spread all around Losec, and I'm going to need to do some pretty extensive gate hopping. The Ascendancy implants are not only going to make that faster, they're also going to make it safer, because as I've talked about many times before, the faster you get into warp, the faster you drop out of warp, and the less time you spend crossing a system, the harder it is to get caught by smart bombs or any other kind of player interference. My implants are going to be ready in a little over an hour, and that delay is going to pay for itself, I'm sure of it. Here we are. 1, 2, 3. Now before we plug these in, let's take a look at Aaron the Atron. Currently has an 8.69 AU per second warp speed, which is pretty darn zippy. But now we can't plug these in because we don't have cybernetics level 3. Give me 1 second. As I was saying, but now we need cybernetics level 4. But now, there we go. Now, 10.16 AUs per second. Oh, that feels good. We are so fast. And this speed is not just for show, because now we really do have to collect all of our materials to Amamake. Not just the atmospheric gases that are over in Placid, but the other things that we haven't picked up yet. Like, for example, here in Manar, all of this stuff needs to get to Amamake. 3,900 cubic meters of it. That's going to be quite a few trips. Although, we're not going to do all of it in the Atron. But this, we are going to do in Aaron. And Aaron can fit 180 cubic meters of stuff in his hold. So we're looking at 4 trips. We'd best get moving. Now, Aaron, of course, is fit for sub 2 second line, and also with a pretty good buffer tank for smart bomb resilience. There has been a big change to the way that smart bombs work in one of the recent patches. It used to be that EMP smart bombs were strictly better than all other smart bombs, but now there's been a rebalance and all 4 damage types of smart bombs are viable. So smart bomb resilience is no longer just about maximizing out your hit points, your effective hit points against EMP damage. You now really do need an Omni tank, because I'm sure slowly over time, some of the smart bombers are going to switch to the kinetic, explosive, thermal smart bombs, which have slightly different effects now in terms of range and things like that. I think that my gate running ships, I'm going to be trying to put a pretty uniform Omni tank on them. The other thing we have to be aware of is the fact that there's an event running right now. It is Crimson Harvest, the Halloween event, which means there's new sites. We're probably not going to end up actually running any of those because we're really focused on building the Cynabal now. If this event had happened, 2 weeks ago, it would have been like, oh yes, of course, we're going to run some sites. But the Crimson Harvest event isn't just about the combat sites and the exploration sites. During Crimson Harvest, the loot drops from PvP are also increased. Whereas usually when your ship gets killed in PvP, you only drop roughly half of what you have in your cargo. During Crimson Harvest, I believe the loot drop is 90% which is a really big difference. Most significantly, what that does is it means that the business case for gate camping is suddenly a lot more appealing. So we're more likely to run into random gate camps flying around Losec during Crimson Harvest than we normally would be. Now, our 2 second align, our 1.95 second align should still be plenty to get past most of those camps. But given how precious our cargo is to us, if we do see like a hell camp on a gate, then that might be a sign to at least put that route to bed for a little bit and come back at a less active hour. So far though, this route has been pretty calm. Past a couple of ships, not really any fleets. I do think that once we get into Heimatar, into the head constellation, which is Sisade, Vard, and Amamake itself, we will see a lot more people in local, not only because that part of space is, generally highly active, but also because the higher level Crimson Harvest sites are spawning there specifically. So there's an additional population on top of the locals of people coming in to run those sites, and then another additional population on top of that of people coming in to hunt the people running those sites. Amamake, as usual, is good and active. Whole bunch of frigates out, but also a Kronos, which is a marauder. There he is, Blue Melon. Oh, I know that guy. Parked on top of the Keepstar. But we're not interested in him right now. We are docking up at the Chitara to drop off a bunch of PI. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close to being able to run all of our first stage reactions, but we still got 3 more trips out to Manar to do, and then a couple more further afield, so let's get to it. The speed is off the charts. I'm traveling at the speed of light. Make a supersonic man out of you. Let's go. Come on, Aaron. I love it. And that's it. Manar to Amamake move up complete. Boy, are we fast. With those ascendancies, we were getting across systems like that in the blink of an eye. We were getting off one gate's grid and then the next gate was already visible, it seemed like. Wow, 10 AU per second is no joke. That was 86 jumps just now in 54 minutes. My mind's a little bit blown. In a Tech 1 frigate. And we didn't see a single smart bomb along the way, nor even really a gate camp. We passed a couple of fleets, but nobody seemed like they were actually there waiting for us. I did see Blue Melon hanging out above the Amamake Keepstar in a Macarial, and it did occur to me that he might be seeing me warping in and out of system and be thinking of having a lark, but he never came for us. And I'm glad too, because not only have I not really tested Aaron out against any of these new rebalanced smart bombs, I'm pretty sure Aaron is set up to survive any smart bomb of any variety, not just EMs, but I'm glad I wasn't tested. And it also occurs to me, it has not escaped my attention that actually smart bombs are a little bit more perilous to us than they used to be, considering that we're now flying in a pod that's worth well north of $500 million ISK. Oh, I love these implants. So, we've got all this stuff in Amamake now, but this is not quite everything that we need in order to run our reactions. We still have to go pick up our atmospheric gases and a couple of other things. So now, it's time to fly a 34 jump return trip from Amamake to Harul. Just gonna look here, make sure that we're not going through any Mimitar or a Mohr high sec. I don't want to be in a position where a random disconnect is going to get me killed by NPCs. Nope, this route looks safe. Well, let's go. Okay, everything except for the Mycosorosin and Cytosorosin is now in Amamake. To collect the gas, I'm going to need to do something a little bit different. So I am docking up in an NPC station here in Amamake so that I can install a clone, jump over to that clone, get out of my new super fancy half-billion-esque pod, and then, with no implants in my head, I can safely self-destruct back to Manar. So in Manar, I still have 320 units of mycosaurocin that need to get over to Amamake. 320 units of Azure mycosaurocin is 3,200 cubic meters of space. So that would be what, like 15 trips back and forth in air in the Atron? No thank you. But I could fit it all, say, in the hold of a wreath if I added on another cargo extender, but there's a better way. What are we gonna name this venture? Haugen. Or maybe that's pronounced Thone? Let's say Haugen. We've been using ventures to mine minerals and also to harvest gas because they have bonuses to those things. But the other reason we've been using the venture to harvest gas is because it's got a 5,000 cubic meter mining hold, which can hold gas. So we use the venture, not just for mining the gas, but also for hauling it from one end of space to the other. Now, that is more dangerous because a venture can't really be fit for 2-second align. Its base align time is 4 seconds. You're never going to get that down, which means we do have to worry about gate camps. But I brought here to Manar my improved cloaking device, which when combined with a 5MN micro warp drive sets us up for the micro warp drive cloak fit. So now it's just a matter of building a safety buffer against smart bombs. We can't quite fit 2 medium shield extenders, but we can fit a medium and a small. Then if we throw on an EM shield reinforcer, then we should have plenty of buffer to survive a single smart bomb no matter what. So we can put the last 2 slots, I think, hyperspatials. And in the bottom, in the low slot, a warp core stabilizer. Because if we do get caught despite our micro warp drive cloak trick and we activate the warp core stabilizer, we'll still be able to warp off as long as there aren't 5 warp disruption points on us, which is honestly most of the time. Okay. Let's put on some paint. Angel Industrial Livery. I think that's right. And now let's get our Azure mycosaurocin to Amamake as well. And we've made it to Amamake with our first load of gas. Man, even with those 2 Tech 1 hyperspatials on this venture, it feels like a pig at a mere 7 AU per second after we've been going 10. Now that we don't have the implants in and we don't have the Tech 2 hyperspatials. The implants, at least, is a problem that we can solve immediately. Let's dock up, drop off our gas, and then now we're just leaving an empty pod here in the NPC station. And if we need to make another clone sometime later, we can always remotely destroy that Amamake pod. Okay, we're back in our Zippy Ascendancy pod. And now, Haugen the Venture, 8.23 AU per second, not bad at all. So the question is, where exactly did we leave the rest of our mycosaurocin and cytosaurocin? In Champa. Oh no, we're gonna have to make 2 trips to Champa, 16 jumps each way. We've got extra Celadon in Ogaria, but 35. I'm gonna look at our shopping list. Okay, we need, of the mycos, we need 320. So I don't actually need to go to Ogaria at all, because I've got 324 stashed in Chamja. Do I have to go to Thera? In Thera, I've got my Vermilion myco, which I don't have here yet, and I've got some spare Azure. So I'm gonna have to go to Chamja and Thera for the myco, and then for the cytosaurocin, of which I only need 10 of each. So it's a much easier hauling job. I've got Vermilion in Thera, but also in Kadugumur, and I've got Viridian in Albrez. The Celadon and Azure is already here. What's the nearest Thera hole? Oh, there's an Amamake hole. Sorry, there's a Thera hole in Lanthorn right now, just 2 jumps away. So it looks like that is going to be our first stop. Oh, this is the first time that I think I've seen an error like this on the Eve Scout website. The Eve Scout website is telling me that AHX766 is the INSIG for Thera, but AHX666 is actually a Minotaur rendezvous point. Well, presumably one of these other signatures actually is the INSIG, and the Eve Scout recruit who filled in the form on the website just copied the wrong signature name. There we go. Here's our Thera wormhole. It was IFA 100. Just so you know for next time, who was it who said that? Umar Yakut, doing your job for you. Well, let's go to Thera. Okay, in the Amamake Tatara, we now have Vermilion Cytocerosin, Vermilion Mycocerosin, which means 5 of our 8 types of gases are safely here. Next stop, Chamja.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip, and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you
Ooh, exciting! All of those jumps finally encountered a gate camp on the very last gate back into Amamake when I had my Viridian Mycocerosin in the hold, my second last gas to Amamake, and the Micro Warp Drive cloak trick with a little completely superfluous Warp Core Stabilizer thrown in for good measure got us through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 types of gas. All that's left is the Viridian Cyto in Albres, only 10 units, 100 cubic meters. We can take Aaron and enjoy flying 10.1 something AU per second again. Well, let's go. All right. This has already been the haulingest hauling episode of all time. I told you those implants are going to be worth it. We have already done in excess of 200 jumps, and we've got 4 left to do. It's time to head over to Egglehand and buy all of our reaction formulas. Chemotech Factory. You ready for a goddamn shopping spree? Reinforced carbon fiber reaction formula, 20 million ISK. Regular carbon fiber reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Oxyorganic solvents reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Thermosetting polymer reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Pressurized oxidizers reaction formula, 20 million ISK. Sulfuric acid reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Cogna emotive neurolink enhancer reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Stress responding neurolink stabilizer reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Sense heuristic neurolink enhancer reaction formula, 10 million ISK. Goal orienting neurolink stabilizer reaction formula, 10 million ISK. And I think that's all of it. I think that's all the reaction formulas that we need. We already had the carbon polymers reaction formula, and this, combined with that one, is every single reaction on my list. So we're about to find out if I made a fundamental mistake when I was putting together my shopping list way back in episode like 2. I've got my fingers crossed that's not the case. Let's get all this back to Amamake. Here we are, every reaction formula and every single ingredient we need to react them all. But we can't do it all at once because this is a multi-stage process. We first need to react the moon goo and such up into the tier 1 reactions, the tier 1 compounds like the carbon fiber and the sulfuric acid. And then we take the output of those reactions and feed them into the tier 2 reactions, the things like the pressurized oxidizers and the reinforced carbon. And then with those final reactions, we can take them and start actually building from blueprints the components that are used to then build the Cynabal. But I think that we can get all of our phase 1 reactions going right now. So this is probably the point in this whole run where I am in the most danger from a misclick. I have just the amount I need of most of these ingredients. If I accidentally build one run too many of any of these reaction formulas, then I could find myself not having enough silicates or what have you for another reaction formula I have to do, and find myself in a position of having to go out and mine another moon. So let's not do that. I'm going to be looking at my original spreadsheet very, very carefully as I build all of these things out. The first thing I want to note is that I already have 200 carbon polymers, and I believe that's all the carbon polymers I need, so I can leave that reaction formula untouched in this process. Just checking my spreadsheet. Yes, I need 200 carbon polymers for this whole process. Sulfuric acid, I also need 200. So 200 sulfuric acid is one run of the reaction formula, requires 98 atmospheric gases, 98 evaporate deposits, and 5 nitrogen fuel blocks in the oven. The next tier 1 reaction formula on my list is oxyorganic solvents. This is the big one. I only need 3 oxyorganic solvents in total, and one run of the reaction gets me 10. So I only need to run this one once as well. Again, it only requires 5 fuel blocks, but the oxyorganic solvents were one of the big headaches of the build process because this formula requires 2,000 hydrocarbons and 2,000 atmospheric gases. Until that most recent moon mining escapade, this was the one tier 1 reaction formula that I couldn't do, but the 3 oxyorganic solvents that I'm going to need from this reaction are then also needed to build like everything else. So this was a complete roadblock, and now it is clear. Oxyorganic solvents also in the oven. And then we're on to the carbon fiber. Now, I don't know why this job run is defaulting to 17. That's terrifying. I don't need 17 runs of carbon fiber. I'm going to need this to build a lot of reinforced carbon fiber, so I need more than I did of the other things. I need 400, which is 2 runs. 2 runs of carbon fiber on the way. And then the last of my tier 1 reactions is thermosetting polymer, of which I need 400. 400 thermosetting polymer is 2 runs. Let's go. I think I did all that right. I don't think I'm overbuilding or overreacting any of my reaction formulas. Our full first round of reactions will be complete in 3 hours, and then we'll be ready to do stage 2, and after that, no more reacting ever again. But while we're waiting for this cauldron to finish bubbling and boiling and toiling and troubling, we have some errands we need to run in Thera. Oh, god damn it. Thanks for watching, and in case you're not already aware, I have thrown my hat into the ring with my original character, Macagon, to be a representative on CSM 19. So if you think that my approach and philosophy represents what you'd like to see from the future of EVE Online, remember, you get to choose who's going to represent the player base. So, well, choose wisely.